everyone, welcome back to the show. We're talking technology, and I've got an educated engineer in the back. You are educated, right? You didn't just didn't fall out of the sky.
I paid a lot of money for some degrees.
Paid a lot. How much did it cost?
Actually, not bad.
Not bad.
I have a master's I got from Stanford going at night for about $10,000.
Oh wow!
They don't make them that way anymore.
Wow, no. I met I interviewed a spine surgeon, and he had totaled his bill the day before.
Yeah.
Because he was going to his first interview.
My.
And I'm sure they didn't interview too many spine surgeons. I'm sure he got the job, right? $502,000 was his bill.
Whew.
So he had to go to work. And
mine was a little less expensive.
A little bit less expensive.
Just a little.
But I have so much respect for engineers. And when you start thinking about it, everything needs to be engineered. Everything you see, from a pencil up.
If it didn't happen naturally, if it's man-made, one way or another, it was engineered.
That's the line I was looking for. Thank you for that. If it had to be made, it had to be engineered.
Mm-hmm.
How's that sound?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we were talking about the pyramids.
Yeah.
And you said, it was funny, you said that if we can't think like for 5 minutes.
Yeah, our time frame these days is seconds. And so the idea of a group of people, say 100,000 year figure, doing the same thing over and over for 10 years, the same group of people working their tails off for 10 years boggles our mind. But sweat and toil, consistent effort.
There's a flaw in that little ointment, or fly in that ointment, because it's not, every block was different, and there's passages, and it was a huge engineering feat.
The angle on all of them was the same. It was identical. The corners would have been different, but identical. The center blocks would have been identical. Yeah, there are variation, but not that complex. And guess what? Hey, does it fit? Yes or no? We've got to shave a little bit off. Not really rocket science to measure it and see if it fits.
Every 20 minutes, day and night. Okay, night. Mm-hmm. There's not much light at night unless I looked back in those days. And they had supposedly the what do they call it? That there's a name for the light that they invented back then. Supposedly they did have light at night. You remember what it's called?
I do not.
Oh, okay.
It might have been called a torch.
A torch, but no.
Or oil. I don't know.
You're a very smart man. So,
well, go for Occam's razor. What's the simplest explanation? Could something like that be done physically? Yes, they've reproduced, making the blocks, they've moved them around. Is it conceivable? Absolutely. Do we have trouble imagining it? Do we look at that and go, oh my God, without a crane and a bulldozer and, electronics, and man, could they have done it without smartphones? I don't know.
Well, I saw a documentary the other day, and they found underneath the pyramid, buried in some chambers, copper piping, and then the materials used, the limestone, it was very, very smooth when it was first built. It was very highly reflective, and then there was some material. They named 4 or 5 different materials that all are associated with producing electricity. The quartz. So it was pretty amazing. So they're saying it was and then the water. Oh my goodness. The water. There was some water that came right nearby, and I don't know. I wish I could remember things I watch. It would be so much easier to explain it if I could just remember shit. So, I suffer from CRS. I don't know if you know that.
I don't know what CRS is.
Yeah, can't remember shit.
Ah.
It's a very debilitating disease.
I knew that once, but I forgot it.
Oh my God! Exactly. So you're not from Los Angeles?
Not from Los Angeles.
From another planet. They flew you in.
Oh, a whole other planet. There's a part of the country on the other side of California that's out there.
Really?
Yeah, it's. I know it's mythical.
How do you get there?
People aren't sure. I hear rumors.
So
what? Actually, another land in another body of water.
So have you created something on your own? Like, are you envisioning as an engineer a little device, like an invention? I invented something once.
Okay.
I invented an extended play holographic simulator.
Extended play holographic simulator. So it's not really a holographic projector. It simulates a holograph.
Well, what it was is, as you know, a 360 multiplex spins in a circle.
Okay.
What I did is I created a feed reel and a take-up reel and a cylinder that you would, like in a regular movie projector, you'd thread the machine, start it, and you'd have a 3-minute hologram, 360, versus a 10-second one that spun and repeated itself over and over again.
Fun.
Yeah. I was living with one of the smartest men I've ever met. His name was Dennis Gunst, an inventor and scientist. And I just got back from hitchhiking around the world, and I was looking, because I have no family here or anywhere. I was orphaned very early. And I done with my travels, came back to Los Angeles, and looked for a job. and I found a job working for Room and Board. That was a good start, right? Living in a bomb shelter in downtown LA at 8th and Town.
Oh my.
And it was just he and I, 10,000 square foot bomb shelter. And he was working for the Navy, and a lot of different people, but and he would sit down there before there was calculators and computers, and he would do by hand the calculations, figure out how much tensile strength a particular rod had to be, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And he would go after 8.5 pieces of paper, one after another, with, it looked like, I wish I kept one because it looked like a piece of art. It was all these equations.
Okay.
That
all done by hand on paper.
All done by hand, and he filled each paper with the equations, and he did another one and another one, and at the end of about 8 different full sheets of 8.5 by 11 equations that I couldn't even decipher. It was like a different language from
So I'll share a story with it.
Wait, let me finish it.
All right.
He would come out with 26 pounds
of paper.
No, 26 pounds was the answer.
Oh.
What we needed from all those equations.
Oh my God.
Okay, go ahead.
So, computer. We think of a computer as a machine, right?
Right.
Origin of the word.
Well,
Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the women, the pool of mathematicians who do the hand calculations, the hand mathematics, they were called people who did computers.
Right.
So computers were people to start with who did things by hand and math.
Right. They did a movie about that. Did you see the movie?
I did not see the movie.
Oh, that's where I learned that.
Okay, I'd heard about it.
People.
I'd seen the pictures.
Great movie. You should watch it. You don't watch movies?
I have watched a movie or two.
You should watch 3 or 4. They're really good.
Okay. Well,
I like ones based on...
I didn't know there were more movies out there.
There's a lot of movies. I like movies based on true stories, and that particular one you're talking about was based on a true story, and I'm trying to think of the name of it. They were black women, most of them.
But I love the idea that we all think of computers as these machines.
Exactly. They were people.
Highly sophisticated electronic
Exactly.
machines. And the origin really is just what people did by hand.
Yeah. It was with... that was a great movie. I wish I could remember the name of it. If anyone's listening right now live, call 714-316-9829 if you know the answer to the movie where the girls were computers, and the black lady's really smart. They ran it. They always ran everything by her, and it was just it's a true story.
Right or wrong.
True story. It was a really great movie. But at any rate, so yeah, engineers are the cat's meow, and you can't tell me what you're working on. Or you did a little bit, but you can't tell me much more for the public. Now, I've already forgotten.
But it is fun to invent things. That's what we do. You're right. It's taking ideas and turning them into...
So I just talked to a lady the other day, and her friend was picked for the Mars mission.
Okay.
And I guess it's leaving in 2026, according to her.
Mm-hmm. And
her friend's on it, and it's a one-way trip. Do you know anything about that?
I do not. You're not talking about just sending stuff there. You're talking about...
a group of people going to Mars forever. I think, how long does it take?
Well, the fastest routes are about 6 months. So you got to deal with being exposed to some pretty nasty radiation, potentially.
Oh, yeah, speaking of radiation, let's talk about that for a minute. There's very many reports from scientists and from astronauts talking about how we've invented this new rocket that'll get us to the moon. And because we have to go through the Van Alden radiation belt, and humans can't go through that belt. I'm watching what I'm watching on these documentaries, and they say we got this brand new rocket that's going to be able to get us through the Van Alden radiation belt. Well, that begs the question: how do we get to the moon?
I was about to say that the radiation belt is
very close. I know.
Well, it's pretty close. It varies in intensity, and you got to worry about it. But you can get through it. Nothing's stopping you. It's not like a force field.
Well, no, it's the radiation that will kill us. Is what they're saying.
No.
Well, why do these scientists say that on record in front of a camera in the lab with the rocket ship standing there? I mean, unless they're manipulating their lips and doing the special effects and making them say words that they really didn't say.
I haven't seen it. I don't know who they are, so I can't tell you. But
I do know something.
The radiation belt. Yeah, are they dangerous? Do you need to worry about them? Absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question. Usually, I learned a lot from driving. I like to learn something from everyone I meet. And I learned a lot from doctors and nurses. And when they got nurses on board, I like to play Nurse Jeopardy. But now we're going to play Engineer Jeopardy.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to only ask you one question.
Oh, the answer is no.
If you can see, if you
or two.
See if you know the answer. No, it's not a yes or no question.
Well, then it's two. I always have an answer ready.
Okay. How much does it cost to send a satellite in outer space, and you might know that they charge by the kilo. Let's see.
Yes, the number used to be 40,000 a kilogram, but it's coming down. SpaceX has lowered it, but that was the number that I have always kept in my mind.
Okay, well, there's a new number.
Okay.
It's 20,000.
I believe that.
20,000 a
That
kilo.
makes sense to me.
And not many people. Some guy told me you're not supposed to know that because I wanted to interview him, and
Yeah.
I said, "Well, I happen to know a few things about
Yeah,
what's
no,
going on."
SpaceX has done a lot to really attack that number,
Yeah, it's
and it has been coming down. So that sounds about right to me.
yeah. Well, that's right. Let me ask you. I'll just play Nurse Jeopardy with you for a second. See,
Memory back
it's-
then is not very clear.
You know what's weird is you have a body and you've been living it your whole life.
That's right. That's
and
right.
you don't know how many bones are in
I'm
it.
an engineer because I like being, dealing with the
Your
outside
body
of
was
it, what goes
engineered.
on. It's-
Your body was engineered by a very smart guy, supposedly.
Well, he's working on it for a couple billion years. wasn't
Exactly. Well, there's 206, just so you know.
he? Okay. I figured it might be in the
I guess,
hundreds.
question number 2: how many organs are in your body?
Ooh,
And skin is counted as one. Just so
Skin
you
is
know.
counted as one?
Skin.
8.
Close. 12.
Oh, okay.
Now here's the real important one. How many of those 12 are vital to your life? You can't live without them. I'll give you a hint. Brain is one of them.
Okay. I'm going to go for half.
Although I'm living without mine.
5.
Very good. Five. Yeah,
Okay.
you got it. You nailed it. What else? Oh, the spine surgeon one. I asked him, as I'm interviewing him, he just spent $502,000 getting educated. I asked him, how many discs are in your spine? And it took him a while to figure it out.
Well,
He could count them.
all the vertebrae.
But I can answer the question like that now, and I didn't spend $502,000 because I know the answer now. And he said 16. I said, oh, that's pretty good. Now I know that. I'm really happy to know that. Then after a few minutes, he goes, wait a minute, no, I made a mistake. There's 23. So I thought that was pretty funny. So there's 23. And so
Well, he probably doesn't open people up and do an inventory.
He says,
to make
you know-
are they all there? Before we start, let's make
well,
sure
come
they got all
on.
the
You have to study every one of them. He says, I know what they all do, and but I've never been asked that question before. So I asked some bizarre questions because I'm curious about everything. I'm curious about what you're doing today, with the asteroids, I left it. Let me see what we're doing here. 6 So UCLA, loved that school. My son went there. Played number
Big
one.
place. I've
Played
never
for
been
the
there before.
Played
It's
for the tennis team.
huge.
They say it's one of the largest buildings in the world because they're all the buildings are connected underground, so they consider it one big building, and it's a very big building. And it's a very, very sophisticated school. So there is a science. What you're doing? A meeting with the science department or something like that?
There's a bunch of science departments.
Bunch
They're
of science
huge.
departments.
They got.
I guess
you
they
name
do
it. They got 100 people that do it.
Yeah, I guess they just do everything from
The place is amazing.
surgeons to scientists. Well, I interviewed three Caltech scientists so far, and one guy, it was amazing. He's the only one in the world doing it. He was just published in Nature magazine, and he's creating machines to build artificial intelligence from DNA
Yikes!
in a test tube.
Oh my god!
Another guy, he's training atoms to have memory.
Now wait a second.
He's training the electrons around the atom
Uh-huh.
to have memories. So he's building the nanocomputer basically. And I said, well, how can you do that? And he was saying how you could. There's a way. It's in the
Bad
interview.
electron. Sit.
Exactly.
Okay. No, speak. Good electron.
And they're doing it. It's just like it's going to be 30, 40 years before they can master it. And he's doing that for his life.
Yeah.
They're training atoms to be the next supercomputer.
Well, if
That's
you just,
amazing.
I mean, you're old enough to have experienced the acceleration and change in technology and capabilities. I mean, it's just going through the. Look at the thing that we're. I mean, look at your psychic receiver right there, and all the stuff that it's capable of.
Oh, you want to hear something?
It's just amazing.
If you join my channel, which is a YouTube channel, I don't know if you have it on your phone.
I don't.
You should join it. Here's your invitation. I didn't even tell you about being fantastic, but that's my mission is to make more people fantastic. The point being is I'm sending out to my members a free hologram via text to be put on your phone, and it will eliminate the EMF on your phone.
Okay.
And I'm doing that for free because I'm on a movement to make the world a better place, And I'm doing that one person at a time by telling them to be fantastic. Instead of being good, okay, oh, well, fine, all the bullshit answers that you hear. If you say you're fantastic each time, you're making other people feel good. It makes people feel good to hear that. It makes them smile.
We had an engineer who retired many, many years ago, and that was basically his personal tagline. And anytime you asked him how was it, fantastic.
And how did it make you feel when you heard that?
He was a positive guy. He meant it. You know, he exuded the emotion every time he said that.
And
I could still hear the tone of his voice and picture him every time he said it. You felt good.
You've proven my point again. 605 people are members of the Be Fantastic movement, right? Mm-hmm. Of those 605, you now become the 36th person to have ever met someone in their life that is fantastic. And what I always tell people is you never forget them as long as you live.
Yep, that's true. I can picture him. I can hear him saying it. You pass him in the hallway. You talk to him a little bit, and he hit you with that. And he meant it. You could just tell.
And it made you feel good when you heard it.
Of course it did, yeah.
So how would you like to start saying that to people? Think of the logic of that. You can make people feel that same way, even if you're feeling down, because you're making someone else feel good. 89, listen to this, 89-year-old woman 4 days ago got in the car. I asked her the same question I ask everybody: have you met anyone that's fantastic? I didn't ask you because we didn't get into that. We did something different today. And she said, my late husband, she outlived two of them, 89. Every time he's asked, he said that. And I said to her, how did it make you feel? She said, it made me feel wonderful, as did all my friends. So I said, knowing that it made you feel wonderful, why do you say good when I asked you how you are? She said, I never thought of saying it. And she goes, now I'm going to say it the rest of my life.
So have you tested other words? Are there other good words or words?
There is no
awesome, almost as good. What is it about fantastic?
No. It makes you smile. And the smile releases endorphins, dopamine, and serotonin. It's and awesome doesn't do it.
So it's the shape, is the word, is the way, what it does to your mouth physically when you say fantastic.
Fantastic, you know.
Yeah, you're right. It's a smile. You're starting it off with a.
And try it right now. Say, I'm fantastic.
Fantastic.
And you should say it every time.
I'll test it.
And I'd love you to be part of the movement, because what it is, it's karma. You're making other people feel good, like that gentleman you met. He was an engineer, you said?
Yep.
Great. So you just became part of my repertoire, because I love to hear the stories of people that have met people that say they're fantastic. Only 35 out of 605 so far. I'm 36. You're the 36th. And you never forget them as long as you live.
That is true. So, I cannot remember his name, but I can picture him, and I can hear him.
But here's the deal. When you say you're fantastic, you're going to live longer, because it reduces the stress. A smile reduces stress.
Well, that sounds good.
And you're going to live longer. You're going to be happier. You're going to make other people happy, because you just told them something nice, and they're going to smile and be happy about it. You're going to never be forgotten in life, which is kind of cool. You're going to make the world a better place. If you can make one person smile today, you did good. Make 10 people smile, you've done great.
Very good, huh?
Great. And you've done more than that, like I do every day. That's fantastic. And say it often, too. That's a fantastic invention. It's a fantastic day today, you know? It's a fact. You know what the word means? Most people don't even know what it means.
That's a good question. I do not know.
No one knows. 2,000 people have asked. It means extraordinarily good.
Extraordinarily good.
Isn't that great?
Extraordinarily good.
So I want you to be fantastic. I want you somehow to download.
I will test it. I do promise to test it.
Oh, you promise to test it? Okay.
I promise to test it.
And here's a little reminder. Put it on your phone to be fantastic.
To be fantastic.
And that card you have, basically that's a pay it forward card. After you've joined the YouTube channel, and you're going to be on the website because we just did an interview. Pay it forward. Pass it forward to somebody else.
Okay, got it. Well, you have a fantastic day.
Be fantastic.